Hi, I'm Pat Carter with the Practice Design Group, and I'd like to review a couple of key considerations when it comes to selecting your lease space. The first thing we would say is, based on the number of operatories, we would multiply that times 500 square feet. So if I'm a 5-operatory office, I multiply that 500 square feet, and I end up with an assumption of 2,500 square feet. And that is usable, or what we refer to sometimes as net square footage. Your realtor may be looking at gross or rentable square footage, which is very different. So you're wanting usable or net square footage, and that's what you describe to your lease negotiator, and you tell them that's exactly what I need within which to design my dental facility. And from there are about 8 points we'd like to make that are sometimes overlooked when you're making a decision about your lease space. One is we want to have north and east facing windows for all our operatories. We want to get that sun in there, but we also want the sun that's going to be friendly to us. So north light, east light is going to be your optimum orientation. So that is why we were recommending that. Number 2, we want to have a 400 amp electrical panel. If we're 4 to 8 operatories, that's going to be our requirement. The reason why we say that is 200 amp is very typically offered on a lease space. So we want to be sure that the 400 amp that we're going to require for a dental facility is going to be there and available to you as part of your lease negotiation. And number 3, a secondary private entry and exit, something separate from that patient entry and exit that allows you to have access to the space that is privatized from when patients come and enter and exit that building. Number 4, we want to have 1 ton of HVAC for every 250 square feet of facility. And the reason that's important is oftentimes HVAC subcontractors will assume 400 square feet for a ton. That's not going to be enough air for a dental facility. So we're highly recommending that you make sure they understand the amount of output that you want in HVAC, which is 1 ton for every 250 square feet of your facility. And then also, as we look at the interior space itself, let's look at number 5, which would be a free span of open space, readily available in new construction. But sometimes you're going into an existing building. We have columns. Those consume square footage. Optimally, however, if we can get an interior space with no columns, that's optimum. Number 6, also we want to have clearance so that we can get our HVAC and get some height to those ceilings. So what we would say is a 12-foot height minimum will allow us to have at least a 9-foot ceiling and will allow us to run HVAC in that plenum. If you can get more, great, but 12 foot would be a minimum we would recommend. Number 7, what we would also say is we want a main entry easily identified from that exterior. You don't want your patients trying to figure out where your space is as it relates to any other space. So we want that to be highly identified and identifiable. That has a lot to do with how you establish that presence on the outside. Number 8, we definitely want to have no interior steps and no elevation changes. We're dealing with the ADA, which requires wheelchairs to be able to access that entire space. So steps and elevation changes are a no-no. So we definitely want a clear, flat area for our lease space. So those would be the 8 essential optimum location requirements we would suggest for a lease space. And as always, it is our goal and commitment at Impact Design to make sure we've helped you and assisted you with the ideal dental facility that you require. I hope you found this helpful.